Hey, nerdy sports fan here. We're talking Week 10 NFL action. We've got the Atlanta Falcons going on the road to see the New Orleans Saints. Now, man, this is a punchline game if I've ever seen one. We have one of, if not the best teams in the NFL, going up against one of, if not the worst team in the NFL. Man, the swing from 2 years ago in the Super Bowl to just bottom of the league. Dan Quinn should have been fired weeks ago. He should have been fired this past offseason. But, yeah, still there. Don't know why. I'm sorry, Atlanta fans. I really am. Your team has amassed a lot of talent in the past few years and managed to just, I don't know, put together the most comically bad Super Bowl implosion ever. And that's the best part. I'm sorry. I really am. Matt Ryan's got talent. Doesn't really seem to have the leadership capability needed to pull a team up by the bootstraps and win a game when he desperately needs to take over a game. Julio, one of the most physically gifted receivers I've ever seen play. I don't know. He had a stretch where he couldn't find the end zone. I don't know. Just something off. Maybe it's a ego thing. I really don't know. Calvin Ridley is immensely talented. And with Julio on the other side, he should be wide open so damn often it's insane. Either they're not taking enough advantage of those matchups, or he's not winning them as consistently as he should. Because that guy should be a lock wide receiver 1 or 2 almost every week based off of his talent, his quarterback, and the receiver that's on the opposite side of the ball. He just isn't. I mean, I've had him on my bench the entire season. I'm playing him this week because Hopkins is on a bye. That's the only reason I'm playing Calvin Ridley at all. He should be better than he is. And Devonta Freeman, man, he's just laid an egg all frickin' season. The guy's just been crap. He's had 1, maybe 2 good fantasy football games. You expected more out of him because he wasn't, he didn't have Tevin Coleman taking carries away, taking touchdowns away from him anymore. With all the focus on him, you assumed he was going to get better. And he actually got worse. I don't know. Maybe there's just no tread left on the tire. But there's something so wrong with this Atlanta team. It's insane. Their offensive line has been banged up. I'll give you that. An offensive line means so much in the league. It's the reason you have a running game and therefore can develop a passing game off of it. And there's something to be said with the fact that they're now a few years removed from Kyle Shanahan being the offensive coordinator. Him being coordinator was what mattered for this team. It's not there anymore. And now San Francisco is reaping the benefits of Kyle Shanahan. So, they need better coaching. That's what Atlanta needs. They have personnel. They need better coaching. Yeah, the Saints are going to go off. I mean, every statistical category does so good against Atlanta. Kickers have their best game against Atlanta. It's bad. The Saints defense needs to be started in this game. I don't care who your other defense is. The Saints defense is the best defensive play in fantasy football this week. Alvin Kamara is going to go off. He's one of the top 3 running back plays this week. He's just so damn good. And they got Drew Brees now with a bye week in between. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Drew Brees looked fantastic. And now he's had the bye week, and he's going up against a chump squad team in Atlanta. Oh, man. Everybody's so damn happy that man's back. Bridgewater was great in his absence, but Breeze is a huge upgrade. All right? Michael Thomas is going to get more targets and more touchdowns and more yards. Cook's definitely going to be better off. As a tight end, he's a more frequent target from Drew Brees than he would have been from Bridgewater. Bridgewater just statistically doesn't like throwing to tight ends for whatever reason. But yeah, and now the tight end's back in the mix with Drew Brees. And any of the other subsidiary receivers have potential to go off in any game, and especially in a game against Atlanta, who's just terrible. So if you need a flyer, and you need a wide receiver to start this week, because like me, you have Hopkins and he's on a bye, consider looking through the second through fourth receivers for the Saints, because one of those guys is going to catch 1 or 2 touchdowns this week just because Drew Brees spreads the ball around so well. One of those guys is going to have a fantastic game. And if you're going to roll the dice with matchup favoritism in mind. Drew Brees against this defense is fantastic. So random receiver or tight end on the roster who's active could score a lot of points. That's a good gamble, okay? You know that there's gonna be somebody for the Saints that's a no-name receiver that's gonna go off. So now your odds are like 1 in 4 that you pick the guy that's gonna go off versus picking from the whole league smattering of players in a desperation play. It just, the math on it works out. These guys aren't going to be consistent plays, but for this week, for the bye week, it's worth the risk. And even for like daily fantasy, they're great options. The spread on this game cannot be high enough, okay? The Saints are 13-point favorites. They have so much going in their favor, it's insane. They're coming off the bye. Breeze is healthy again. And they're going up against, the slow kid in the division. They're going to win by 21. Okay? Bet the Saints all day, laughing on the way to the bank, directly after you pull the bet. It's a lock. These guys are going to beat the spread, and it's going to be comically bad how much they beat it by. Hit up the rest of the videos I have for more fantasy football advice, and check out the Nerdy Sports Fan Weekly for an updated power ranking.